It's time for our Cartridge Check, a roundup of the biggest stories in video games, movies, comics, and collectibles. Let's dive in. Gamers, get ready. Helldivers 2 is officially heading to Xbox with a planned release on August 26, 2025, and it'll include full crossplay support. One more wall between players? Knocked down. In sports news, after years of waiting, it's confirmed college basketball video games are making a comeback with a target release of 2028. The courts are coming alive again. On the Nintendo front, fans are buzzing about Donkey Kong Bonanza, just revealed for the Switch 2 and scheduled for release on July 17, 2025. And for those who love their farming and classic RPGs, the 2-in-1 collection Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley, and Skytree Village is set to be released on the Switch on July 31, 2025. The dinos are back, but not everyone's thrilled. Jurassic World Rebirth, which launched in theaters on July 2, 2025, drew big crowds over the holiday weekend, but is facing mixed reviews. It earned a B cinema score, the second lowest in the Jurassic franchise. Critics say the film has plenty of action, but the story is predictable and the characters fall flat. The awe and fear of the original? Largely missing. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is rotten. Audiences are a bit more generous, but still split down the middle. Big ships are shaking the Marvel universe. Thor's immortal days are over. Marvel announced the end of the Immortal Thor series with a new series, The Mortal Thor, set to begin with issue number 1 on August 27, 2025, where the character will become mortal once again. Meanwhile, there's a new Captain America, a mysterious figure with a hidden past who was just introduced in the new Captain America number 1, which hit comic shops on July 2, 2025. To prep fans for the next movie, Marvel dropped Fantastic Four First Steps, giving us a brand new movie origin story in comic form. Also this weekend, the London Film and Comic Con is live, running from July 5th to July 6th. Fans are packing in for major reveals and exclusive drops from top publishers. Collectors, here's your heat check. Mattel has opened pre-orders for its new Jurassic World Rebirth figure and vehicle line tied directly to the movie's release. McFarlane Toys revealed an SDCC exclusive Beast Boy from their DC Collector Edition series, which will be available during San Diego Comic-Con later this month. For premium collectors, Hot Toys is offering a new 1/6 scale figure set featuring Superman and Krypto straight from the big screen, with pre-orders having gone live on July 3, 2025. And finally, Toy News International is running their July Forum contest, giving fans a chance to win $100 in store credit at Big Bad Toy Store. And that's your BZB News Cartridge Check. Whether you game, stream, collect, or read, we've got you covered. More headlines and deep dives are coming up next. Stay locked in. You're locked in to BZB News, where we break down the biggest stories across gaming, tech, and finance, all with that no-fluff, old-school edge. I'm your host, Mitch Cartridge. Yeah, the same guy who played Halo 2 in LAN lobbies and still has a stack of Marvel vs. Capcom tokens in his drawer. Now, let's run through the top stories in finance that have markets twitching harder than a day one patch. Remember, the content shared here is for informational purposes. For advice tailored to your unique financial situation, please consult a certified financial professional. Ticking things off, the July 9th tariff deadline is putting global markets in a holding pattern. President Trump is floating tariffs up to 70%, and that's got investors more nervous than a speed run with one life left. Futures on the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ all slipped as the clock ticked toward potential trade chaos. Brace yourself. If these tariffs hit, we could see a full-on price hike chain reaction across tech, autos, and retail. Meanwhile, in a move that would confuse even a seasoned Wall Street vet, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ just hit record highs. Yeah, you heard that right. Even with all the economic turbulence, the market's riding high off strong June jobs numbers and a return of that good news is actually good news mindset. We're not saying it's a bull market, but this thing's definitely snorting like one. Next up, Trump just signed off on a $3.3 trillion tax and spending plan. And no, that's not a typo. It includes tax breaks, EV incentives, and tech investments. but critics are calling it a deficit time bomb waiting to blow. Whether it boosts growth or blows a hole in the budget, one thing is for sure, it's gonna ripple through Wall Street like a surprise boss fight. Across the pond, UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves is feeling the heat. Britain's new fiscal playbook has bond traders in a frenzy. Gilt yields are spiking, and the markets are screaming for some old-fashioned restraint. Translation? Investors want discipline. No one wants to be holding the bag if the UK economy wobbles harder than a Jenga tower in a quake. And finally, if you are still rolling with that classic 60-40 portfolio, it might be time to respec. Wealth managers are pushing for diversification. Think gold, hedge funds, and safe haven currencies. With uncertainty rising, the smart move might just be trading in that stock-heavy build for a little more defense. All right, that's your financial briefing, locked and loaded. But don't go anywhere. Up next, we're diving into the biggest shakeups in the gaming world, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. I'm Mitch Cartridge, and this is BZB News, where the signal is strong and the insight is stronger. You're locked in to BZB News, where we break down the biggest stories across gaming, tech, comics, and sometimes the real-world headlines that hit harder than a lag spike mid-tournament. I'm your host, Mitch Cartridge. Yep, the same guy who survived LAN party hot pockets, blew into cartridges like it was CPR, and still refuses to skip cutscenes. Now let's roll through the top national news stories making waves across the country. First up, the Lone Star State is reeling. Kern County, Texas got slammed with a catastrophic storm system, triggering flash floods that have already claimed at least 24 lives, including children. 20 more people, many from a youth camp, are still missing. Rescue teams are calling it one of the worst flooding events in decades. Roads are gone, campsites wiped out. The word from first responders? Shocking. So this isn't just another summer storm, it's a full-blown crisis. Meanwhile, in a headline that sounds like it came from a simulation mod, Donald Trump says he wants to host a live UFC fight on the White House lawn. Yeah, you heard that right. Part of his pitch for the U.S.'s America 250 celebration, the former president wants to build an actual octagon outside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Think 25,000 people, pay-per-view cameras, and title belt flying under the fireworks. Only hitch? The National Park Service hasn't exactly signed off on White House Fight Night just yet. And in the legal world, things just went full Thursday night massacre. No less than 7 federal prosecutors, including top names from the Southern District of New York, just resigned en masse. Why? They were allegedly pressured to drop corruption charges against NYC Mayor Eric Adams. Legal analysts are drawing comparisons to Watergate's Saturday Night Massacre, saying this could signal serious interference at the Department of Justice. Whether this becomes a political firestorm or just another headline depends on how deep this rabbit hole goes. And that's the latest in national news. No spin, no sugarcoating, just a straight cartridge-fed facts. But don't unplug yet, because coming up next, we're flipping the script back to gaming and collectibles. Let's just say a few plastic icons are about to steal the spotlight. I'm Ms. Cartridge, and you're still dialed in to BZB News. Stay locked in. You're still locked into BZB News, and I am Mitch Cartridge, and we've stepped straight from the ring into the arenas. This is Cartridge Check Sports Edition, packing more punch than a UFC super flyweight chokehold. Kicking things off early. If you're playing WWE 2K25, you've already seen the Donk and Destruction DLC pack that dropped on June 25th. That's Shaq, Tyrese Halliburton, and Jalen Brunson trading the hardwood for the squared circle, along with legends like the Great Khali and Abyss. Console Wars just came with the Battle Royales. On the Diamond, the 4th of July brought some serious fireworks and a historic beatdown. On July 4th, the Houston Astros absolutely demolished the Los Angeles Dodgers 18-1. That wasn't just a loss, it was the worst loss in the entire history of Dodger Stadium. Ouch! Looking back at July 3rd, the Dodgers were on the other side of it, closing out a sweep against the White Sox with a 6-2 victory. The same night, the Toronto Blue Jays hammered the Yankees 8-5 to complete a 4-game sweep and tighten their grip on the AL East.
And in a nail-biter, the Cubs scraped by the Guardians 1-0 in 10 innings. Moving to the WNBA hardwood, all the action was on July 3rd. The Indiana Fever absolutely snapped their 16-game losing streak against the Las Vegas Aces, crushing them 81-54 with Kelsey Mitchell dropping 25 points. Elsewhere, the Dallas Wings outgunned the Phoenix Mercury 98-89, and the Minnesota Lynx rolled over the Washington Mystics 92-75 for their third straight win. Now for a story that's hitting harder than a heavyweight body shot. On July 2nd, just days after his fight with Jake Paul, former middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was arrested by ICE agents in Los Angeles. Federal officials say he overstayed his visa and allege he's an affiliate of the Sinaloa cartel with an active arrest warrant in Mexico for organized crime and firearms trafficking. They're now processing him for expedited removal. It's a stunning fall from grace, and a story that's sending shockwaves through the entire fight world. Back to the action in the ring, the real lead this week is at the World Boxing Cup in Astana. On July 3rd, Team USA's Robbie Gonzalez and Yasmin Perez both advanced to the semifinals, guaranteeing themselves medals. They fight again today, July 5th, forging their path to gold. On the wrestling front, for WWE, the July 4th SmackDown taping saw Drew McIntyre ambush Randy Orton, laying him out ahead of their Saturday night main event clash. World Cup talk is here, and it's the FIFA Club World Cup. The quarterfinals kicked off on July 4th, and the action continues today, July 5th, with two monster matchups, Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. The world's largest clubs are officially on a collision course. That's your Cartridge Check Sports Rundown from WWE DLC to a historic ballpark nail-down and a boxing legend in federal custody. Coming up, we pivot sharply back to comics and collectibles, because next-level heat doesn't just come from bodies in motion. Plastic legends wait. This is Mitch Cartridge, and you're still watching BZB News. Stay locked in.
You're locked into BZB News, and I am Mitch Cartridge. Time to talk money, markets, and the tickers that are running hotter than an overclocked GPU. This is your Cartridge check on the numbers. No fluff, no padding, let's break it down. Remember, the content shared here is for informational purposes. For advice tailored to your unique financial situation, please consult a certified financial professional. So, how'd the market wrap the short week before the holiday? By hitting the damn high score again! The S&P 500, aka SPY, blasted through to close at $625.34. That's not just a gain, that's another all-time high, the fourth one in 5 days. The market's on a loot run, and it's not stopping. The Dow, or DIA for you ETF players, pushed up to $448.09. It's grinding right near its historical record, just a few pixels from the top. And the tech-heavy NASDAQ, the QQQ, it finished its own side quest at $556.22, up nearly a full percent. Tech momentum is the meta right now, plain and simple. So, who were the raid bosses this week? Microsoft kept leveling up, gaining another 1.6% to top $498, all juiced up on AI chip hype. Amazon also tacked on 1.6%, and even Boeing caught a tailwind, jumping 1.8% on defense order news. On the flip side, some players got nerfed. Merck slid about 1.8%, looking sluggish while the rest of the tech party feasted. Why the big push? The market ate up a stronger than expected June jobs report and is riding the high of a massive budget bill getting pushed through DC. It's one of those weird levels where boss music is playing but everyone's still grabbing power-ups. What's the next level look like? Futures are cooling off a bit, hinting at some profit taking when the bell rings again. Keep an eye on earnings next week. Delta and TSMC are up and they could set the tone. Energy is also a wild card, with crude oil hovering around $68 a barrel, a price that makes some players nervous. So, the final score? Major indexes ended the week on fire. The big tech names carried the team. But don't get cocky, the next session could be a mixed bag. A little profit taking, some bidders over tariffs, expect some turbulence.
Coming up next, comics, collectibles, and nostalgia, where the only thing more explosive than the markets is plastic legends. This is Mitch Cartridge, and you're still watching BZB News. Stay locked in.
You're locked into BZB News, and this is your tech check, silicon and circuits, where the chips are hot and the bugs are hotter. Your host is Mitch Cartridge. Let's get into it. First up, the AI arms race is still in full-blown chaos mode. OpenAI is teasing GPT-5 for a summer 2025 release, which means the model that already makes you question reality is about to get its next big evolution. Meanwhile, Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro in Flash just hit general availability last month, and Meta's Llama 3 is still talking a big game. The silicon cage match is getting crowded. On the creative front, OpenAI's Sora is still turning simple text prompts into movie trailers that look like they were shot by Christopher Nolan on a caffeine bender, though it did have a hiccup with some elevated errors on July 1st. And Midjourney. V7 is in alpha, and it's out here with voice prompts in the draft mode that's faster than your old dial-up modem, painting better than Renaissance masters with zero limbs. Time for the hardware corner. NVIDIA's Blackwell GPUs, the RTX 50 series, are on the street after their January launch, promising to make your current graphics card look like a Tamagotchi. With DLSS 4 and so-called neural shaders, they're not just rendering games, they're using AI to rebuild them in real time. Meanwhile, AMD's new Strix Point APUs just dropped niche marks that have some tech reviewers questioning the laws of physics. They're packing so much power, the line between integrated and discrete graphics is officially blurred. Now for the OS rundown. If you're on Windows 11, you're likely still recovering from the June 2025 update that decided your PC didn't need to boot up anymore, or that the print-to-PDF feature was optional. Microsoft acknowledges the mess, but the damage was done. And Apple. The new macOS decoring is beautiful, but is making any MacBook with an Intel chip under the hood feel like it's gasping for air after opening 3 Safari tabs. In other words, your next software update might just eat your RAM faster than the Chrome opening 1 tab. That's your tech check. Stay savvy out there.
Welcome back to BZB News. Let's talk about the bloodbath known as the streaming wars, where your monthly subscription fee goes to die. This is Streaming Wars Reloaded with Mitch Cartridge. It's a content battlefield out there, and the strategy is chaos. Netflix just dropped the first volume of The Sandman's second season on July 3rd, a genuine, high-quality event series. But for every one of those, they also dump a dozen algorithm-generated originals that feel like they were written by ChatGPT running low on tokens. Let's be honest, you're not watching competitive kite flying, you're just trying to find where they hid the good stuff. Over at Prime Video, they're still convinced the key to victory is another prequel or sequel you didn't ask for. This month is the debut of Ballard, a new series set in the Bosch universe. It's their latest attempt to build a franchise, but at this point, it feels less like world building and more like digit strip mining old IP for parts. Meanwhile, Max is still playing musical chairs with its entire library. On July 1st, they yanked the entire John Wick franchise, so if you were planning a Keanu marathon, you're out of luck. But don't worry, they added the Harry Potter movies back for the 5th time this year. It's not a library, it's a revolving door designed to make you forget what you were looking for. And then there's the Disney Plus and Hulu mess. The apps are officially merged into one Hulu on Disney Plus hub, which really means you're just paying more to have 2 different home screens in the same app. So is this still getting shuffled around like a back alley card game, and the only thing that's clear is that your bill is going up. So who's the winner this month? Nobody. You're still paying for 5 different services, still getting hit with ads, and you'll still scroll for 20 minutes before giving up and rewatching The Office for the 30th time. That's the state of the stream.
Welcome to Mad Science and Future Tech, where today's fringe is tomorrow's firmware. I am your host, Mitch Cartridge. Let's get weird. First up, let's talk lab-grown bacon. While scientists are getting close, that rumor about it getting a full green light in Europe is still just vaporware. In fact, Italy banned it. But on July 2nd, the EU did announce a new Biotech Act to fast-track approval for what they call novel foods. So while you can't get a lab-grown pork chop in Paris just yet, they're finally trying to cut through the red tape. I say I'm close to grown impatient. Fire up the bioreactor already! From the lab to the launch pad, SpaceX is still running the space race like it's on a speed run. After a series of launches this summer, they're not even taking the holiday weekend off. The next payload of Starlink satellites is scheduled to go up on a Falcon 9 this Monday, July 7th, and later this month they'll be launching the Crew 11 mission to the International Space Station. The mission tempo is relentless. Meanwhile, NASA just greenlit the new ride for the Artemis astronauts, and it looks suspiciously like the Wardog from Halo. A team led by Lockheed Martin and General Motors won the contract for the Lunar Terrain Vehicle, a rugged open-air rover designed to handle the moon's south pole. It's a beast. All it's missing is a turret on the pack. And over in the Brain Lab, news from Neuralink is getting stranger. Forget monkeys playing Pong. The first human patient, Nolan Arboth, is now drawing digital pictures on a screen and playing chess using only his thoughts. Neuralink is already talking about its second and third recipients. We're officially living in a cyberpunk timeline, where the first commercially available brain-computer interface is being used to play video games. Frankly, it's exactly what we all should have expected. And that's your check on future tech. From AI to the stars, it's all happening faster than you can hit the update button. Stay tuned.
You're watching CEO Watch, where the guys in the corner office have more extra lives than a Konami code. I'm Mitch Cartridge, and we're tracking who's steering the ship and who's setting it on fire while collecting the insurance money. First up, Microsoft's Satya Nadella, the grand strategist of the AI wars. His latest genius move? Axing another 9,000 jobs to fund the AI revolution. The punchline? The people getting cut are the very soldiers who were following his orders, building the empire he's now optimizing. It's a classic corporate raid. The general gets a medal for the new strategy, while the troops who executed the last strategy get sent home. He's sipping espresso, they're updating their LinkedIn. Then you've got Elon Musk playing 4D chess on X while his companies play whack-a-mole with reality. One minute he's promising humanoid Tesla bots that will do your laundry, the next minute Cybertruck sales are in the gutter. He's firing off memes and picking fights with politicians while the teams on the ground deal with the fallout of his last big idea. The guy running the show gets the headlines, the people executing the flawed Ding plan get the blame. And speaking of golden parachutes, let's pour one out for accountability with Bobby Kotick. The man walked away from Activision into the payout that could fund an indie studio for a decade, leaving a legacy of scandal and lawsuits he now calls fake. And the developers who actually coded the games that paid for his jet, they got harassment investigations, and from many, a layoff notice after the merger. He built the casino, and when the Fed showed up, he cashed out and blamed the dealers. So, what's the lesson here? In the big leagues, the strategy comes from the top down, but the consequences only flow one way. The guys calling the plays, they've got infinite continues. The employees on the front lines, the ones doing exactly what they were told, they get a game over. That's your CEO Watch. Guess who got the bonus this quarter?